So I need to make sure that I'm sharing the screen. All right. And then go to presenter mode. So, good evening. This is day 4. If you've been with me since day 1, then you will know that already we have actually covered off quite a bit. Already we've looked at time and budget management. We've looked at the way in which you're actually showing up with your branding and your messaging. And we've also looked at offline marketing yesterday. Today we are looking at online marketing, because I know that so many of you love, and I don't use that word lightly, you actually love social media, don't you? If you're listening now, I bet you that you spend a lot of time on social media. So I'm actually going to be doing a live today, a session for you to help you to review your branding and marketing, okay? So if you are watching with me, then let me know, say hi in the chat, let me know what you do in your business. I like to get quite interactive, so I'm happy that you may be here with me because you want to interact with me. But also, if you want to just listen along and then ask questions after, as some of you have been, that's also fine. So let's get into this. If you're new here and you don't know me, but you have been here for the last few days, something you might not know about me is that I've been doing branding and marketing now for 29 years. And I've really enjoyed doing branding and marketing for 29 years. I've got a range of different planners and different marketing resources that I use. And some of you may be familiar with those. And I have coaching communities. I coach in other people's communities. I also really do enjoy, supporting business owners in a one-to-one capacity, and also going into, different establishments and teaching, being paid to teach and being paid to speak. I love it. And if you're here because you love what you do, but perhaps you want a little bit of clarity around what you need to be doing to get better results, stick around and grab your notepad and pen, because I do want to help you this evening, and I do want to get you to think about what you're doing with your branding and marketing, specifically online. And online could be a range of things, right? It doesn't need to be social media. I know some of you automatically go to social media when you hear the word online, but actually online marketing could relate to emails, it could relate to newsletters that get sent out, it could relate to your blog post, it could relate to your website, it could relate to a lot of things. So for today, I want you to think about your online marketing beyond social media. The key word being beyond, okay? I don't want you to be just focused on social media. We are looking today at where you're at with your online tactics. So let's make sure you've reviewed what you're doing. Okay, you can have a log of what you've done, but ultimately your online and your offline tactics must be reviewed. If you're on day 4 and you're doing this with me day by day, then you would know that each day I've been giving you advice to actually help you to get better results. Okay, so online and offline is what I would recommend if you can manage it. Review what you're doing. Day 3, I went through this. So day 4, you would be welcome to, write some notes down, and also welcome to actually share what you're doing as well. So if you're watching live, good evening. I see you said hi, good evening. I want you to think about as well, after you've reviewed your tactics, how much time you spend. So not just the channels you're on, not just the platforms you're on, how much time you actually spend on these platforms. Because sometimes we can consume a lot of online content, and I was talking a little bit about this on day 2 and the first day as well. Sometimes we can consume quite a lot of content, but we don't actually implement or do the work that's required. And similarly, sometimes we can create lots of videos and lots of graphics, and they all look great, but ultimately they're not getting results. So you've got to be thinking about what you're doing in terms of your branding and your marketing, online and offline, not just the distribution channels and the platforms you're on, but also what's your consistency like? What's the frequency on which you're posting? But also, do you have a routine for what you're doing? So if you've got a newsletter, let me know in the comments. If you've got a newsletter, maybe you send a newsletter every now and then. I don't know, maybe. If you've got, as another example, maybe you have like social media posts that go out, but you send them, let's just say, on a Monday and sometimes at the weekend. That's a little bit inconsistent, right? So I want you to think about the frequency, okay? The frequency, the consistency, the tactics you're using, but also the results you're getting from the tactics. The results are important, and I'll talk a little bit about analytics today. So yeah, as I was saying at the start, if you just joined, my name is V Roberts of Insight to Marketing, and I've been doing branding and marketing now for over 29 years. Actually, I started off as an employed person doing branding and marketing, and I now do branding and marketing as a self-employed person for other businesses, and I really do enjoy that. So if you are someone who has worked in employment, and maybe you're still working in employment and you're running a business, or if you are someone who, let's say, has, I don't know, decided to stop working full time and you're now going to go into business, but you're doing what you were doing when you worked full time, you've definitely got some kind of expertise, right, that you could use. So you've got to look at how you can monetize that expertise online. It does go beyond posting. Yeah. Over the last few years, I've worked on over 325 projects. I've actually calculated this, and 245 of them have specifically been branding and marketing. Yeah. So when I share today, I'm sharing with you from the angle of someone who actually knows their stuff, someone who's not just done the advisory, who's actually done the hands-on, who's actually been responsible for bringing in the results, who's actually had to look at budget lines and do business cases for extra resources and more team members, who's had to direct teams, who's led on campaigns. So I'm sharing this with you so you know I am someone who has done this for 29 years consistently. This is all I've ever done. I haven't changed jobs in between. I've only ever done branding and marketing. I've worked with caterers, florists, coaches, people that do deliveries, decorators, people that do wholesale, people that sell travel. I've worked with all kinds of business owners. But of the last 2.5 years, I've been working in the capacity of a fractional marketing advisor. So I will go into organizations, usually working with the CEO or the person that runs the company, and I will give advice. I will share with that person what I'm expecting them to be getting results from on the back of the advice that I give, and then it's up to them to implement what it is I'm suggesting. So I've been trusted to work with, and I'm still working with, organizations that actually pay me to consult and also pay me to deliver training. In fact, this morning I had a really good meeting with one of my business partners. I'm not going to name drop now, but I do work with quite a lot of different external organizations that are known to business owners. And I really do enjoy doing what I do. So if you're using online at the moment, please do let me know in the platform, in the comments, what it is you do in terms of online marketing, what it is you do. What do you think your biggest online marketing channel is that you're using? And whilst you're doing that, I just want to share with you my LinkedIn page. I'm going to put it in the chat as well. But let me know, what are you doing in terms of online? Someone's already said that they are wanting to get back into newsletters. What are you doing if you're listening live? What are you doing with regards to online? Let's talk about that. I'm going to just see what people come up with, because then I can help you and give you some specific tips. So newsletters is something somebody's going to return to, so that's fantastic, and thank you for your comment. What about the rest of you that are watching live? Something that I actually want to improve on is a very maybe out of date platform, but X.com. I used to be really good on that, and I won't lie to you, I've tried to get back into the swing of things. I think today's the first day that I've actually been able to successfully get decent engagement, because obviously I'm looking at my stats, right? Okay, someone said Pinterest. Okay, fantastic. We've got some top fans on tonight. Welcome, good evening. Welcome. Glad to see you here. All right, so go to my LinkedIn and you'll be able to see my LinkedIn page. I've got company profile. It's under Insight to Marketing. You just can search that, you'd find me there. But what I want you to understand is, with your online marketing, everything you're doing needs to be relevant to your brand. Your brand needs to be consistent. Your brand needs to have presence. It needs to stand for something. And you need to really build brand authority. So do you think you're doing that at the moment? Because when you're building brand authority online, it's not just posting online. It's not just showing up consistently. It's standing for something. It's having brand values. It's having a brand personality. It's also having really good content themes, things that are relatable, things that are timely, things that are relevant. Because when people actually connect with you online, and I did say this on, I think, Monday or Tuesday, when someone goes to your page online, what do they see within the first 7 seconds? Do they see who you are and who you help? Do they see testimonials? Do you have a pinned post or a featured item or a highlight that tells me a little bit about your story or your kind of brand, the way it's developed, why you do what you do, etc., etc. What's there? Because all of that is how you connect with people. But the content pillars, the content themes, I'm working with someone at the moment, and something that this individual said to me was, V, I'm not really sure what to post. I've got lots of content, but I'm not really sure what to post. And I said to this particular business individual that, you know, at the end of the day, you have to think about what you're promoting. If you've got an offer on for the summer, if you've got an offer coming up for the festive season, if you have a service that you are going to be delivering, if perhaps you are someone who is actively promoting, I don't know, a website or a course, then your content should be relevant to the website or the course. Does that make sense? There's no point you promoting your Easter offer in November, unless of course people need to pay down and make, you know, loads of down payments for, I don't know, a trip that you're doing or a business conference that you're doing. But I would definitely think about the timing. So if you've got content, make sure it's relevant, make sure it's in topics. Think about it a little bit like BBC iPlayer, BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Three, and BBC Four. That's the easiest way I could suggest to you, right? So you know with BBC, that's the umbrella brand. But you've got the different variations of the BBC channel. Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense. BBC has different variations of the BBC brand when it comes to broadcasting, right? And each platform shares different types of content. You with me? Each platform shares information that is relevant to a particular audience. And when they share that information, when they put those programs on, when they're broadcasting, what they're doing is they are actually building an audience as well. Yeah, they're catering for the people that they know might need that particular program or that particular series, but they're doing it with the audience in mind. They're programming quite literally. And it's no different when you are creating content for your own social media platforms. You've got to think about, what do people need? What would a series look like? What would a live series look like? What would it look like if I decided to actually create platform 1, platform 2, platform 3, or channel 1, channel 2, channel 3? And then you've got those channels, and actually on each channel you're creating content for specific audiences. That's what it is on social media. It's no different. Yeah. So if you don't yet have content themes, something that I would say you need to do, or maybe you've got content themes and maybe you're not really getting the engagement you want, or nobody's really buying the product you want. The reason for that could be that your content themes don't relate to the offer that you're trying to promote. You could still be talking about a particular brand or a particular product or service that you're doing, but it might not be relevant to your offer. So if you want to educate people, yeah, about what you do, or your offer that's coming up, or your product or service, or your coaching program, or your presentation that you're selling, or your ebook, you have to give them snippets of that via your content. Actually, a bit like what I'm doing now. Because some of you that have booked on to the 4-week sprint, which is the Marketing Momentum Club, the reason you've booked on is because you're actually listening to my tips this week, and you are somewhat interested in what I've got to share, and maybe you've realized there's things that you want to learn, right? So think about what you're doing in terms of your brand and how you're building momentum using content. The content you're producing needs to be relevant to an audience. It needs to be relevant to your branding. It needs to be relevant to your the monitoring, the tracking that you're doing. You need to be making sure you're making informed decisions around what you're producing online. So if you're not getting the results, you're not getting the engagement, you're not really getting the responses that you want, then you tweak your content, right? But also, you've got to be thinking about the processes and systems as well. What have you got to fall back on? So if someone says they're downloading your ebook, then what happens? Do you send them an automated email, or do you have to log in and send them a manual email? Does it get really exhausting? How are you actually communicating at the moment? Is it through automation, or is a lot of what you're doing manual? Because your content should be linked to certain processes and systems so that you can switch off and those systems can work for you. Yeah. If you're watching live on Instagram, I'm actually on YouTube right now. So good evening. And then the other thing you want to be considering with regards to content and brand and marketing planning is your time and budget, which we spoke about on day 1 of the YouTube series that I'm doing now. We spoke about time and budget on day 1. And I also spoke about branding on day 2, branding and messaging. And that's relevant to audience, which is relevant to the processes and systems, and of course the tracking. So those are the 5 key considerations. And if any of those have gone over your head, I do encourage you to take a look at the day 1 and day 2 and day 3 of this 5-day series. The final day will be tomorrow. So thinking about what you're doing at the minute, promo online. It could be a number of things, and you can let me know what it is you're doing. It could be a webinar, it could be a live series. I'm doing a live series this week. It could be online networking. It could be that you're attending your own events or you're hosting your own forums. It could be that you've got like a web page, social media, as I said earlier. You might be doing live demos, which is something that I've recommended to one of my catering clients that they start doing. Live demos. Yeah. It could even be something as basic as an online quiz that you get people to actually subscribe to, complete the quiz. And, with AI and things like that, there's lots of different tools you could use now to do quizzes. And by someone doing that quiz, they have to opt in to be part of your mailing list. And when they opt in to be part of your mailing list, that's when you start to build data. And that mailing list is then what you use for ongoing marketing. Hence why you need automation and processes and systems. Are you with me? Let me know if you're with me. So competitions, email marketing, those kind of tactics also work, and they can all be done online. If you are someone who is thinking about email marketing, as I know one of you have said tonight, email marketing is great. It's cost effective, doesn't take you very long. You could literally write an email by sending out your latest Instagram post and just writing about it in a different way. You could literally write a blog post on LinkedIn and then embed that blog post or snippets of it into your newsletter. You don't have to start from scratch and try again and reinvent stuff, okay? So be smart, work smart, not hard. That was something I spoke about on day one when we spoke about time and budget management. If you don't have much time, if you're someone who feels like you're always doing marketing, you don't have time to pause, think about what you can schedule and automate. And actually, there's a tool called Meta Business Suite. I'm not affiliated to any of these products. I'm not endorsing any of them, but do check them out. There's Meta Business Suite, there's Hootsuite, there's Buffer, there's Hey Orca, there's quite a lot. And there are some others as well that I go into much deeper within my program. And I actually show you how to use them as well. But in terms of like what you're doing, if you know you don't have much time, then schedule and automate. Okay. Many of you might have seen on my page, and certainly my clients will notice because I do it for them, that if you can use tools like ManyChat, okay, very easy to set up. If you've ever done coaching with me, I've got a whole training on different types of automation that you can set up. But ManyChat is phenomenal because you can actually set up automations that respond to comments, that respond to new followers, that engage on replies and all kinds of stuff. And it's quite slick. Yeah? Someone says notepad and pen ready. Excellent. Okay, so ideas to review online as we wrap up. Review your website hits. If you have a website, review your website hits. I'm live right now on YouTube. Okay, good evening. Review your website hits, because the thing is, a lot of us have websites and we don't review our website visitors. We don't look at the most popular pages. We don't look at the web pages that people go on and then they leave within 10 seconds. We don't look at the page that is left, where baskets are being filled and no one's buying. We don't look at the items people are clicking on. I'm at the moment working with 2 different e-commerce brands. On Tuesday, we completed a website migration for a client who's now come on our books. And one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is if you've got a website, and I'm not talking about things like, the odd typo or, you having the odd thing that might be out of date. I'm saying if you've got a website, you've got to make it work for you. You've got to be smart with it. And one of the easiest ways you can do that is to actually look at your website analytics. Yeah. If you don't have a website analytics links to your website in the back end, if you don't have, the graphs and the charts and the stats, get the Google version of that and plug it into your website. Most websites are compatible with that. Okay. Again, I'm not endorsing any of these brands. I'm not affiliated with any of these brands, but do check them out. Someone says yes. Okay, brilliant. So review your website hits. Remember this, unique website visitors are not the same as website visitors. A unique website visitor is one person that might visit your website in 30 days or in 7 days. So when you're looking at the website stats, if you've got 10,000 hits to your website or visits, and you've only got 3 unique visitors, that word unique and that number 3 is quite important, because what it's saying is you had 3 people that visited 10,000 times. And what I know to be true is that a lot of us look at our stats and we're like, oh my gosh, I had 3,000 visitors. And when they look out of those 3,000 visitors, 10 people visited the site. And you know what? 3 of those people were from that person's team or that person's organization. So you've got to be smart. Secondly, audit your email subscriber lists. You probably don't do this because I'm a little bit extreme. Some of you will notice if you've been rocking with me for a little while, I remove followers and I unsubscribe subscribers who I can see are not engaging with my content, who I can see may look a bit like lurkers or just dodgy people. I also unsubscribe people that always read my emails but never ever engage, especially if I've actually reached out to them or we've replied to them and said, oh, you know, do you need any help or have you got any questions? And they never ever respond. Yet I unsubscribe them. So audit who's in your lists, your email lists, you know, your lists from events, your feedback forms. Audit who's in there because it will tell you a lot about where you're at the moment in your business. And also look at the numbers of views and visits and downloads. Visibility metrics do not pay the bills. I've been saying this since 2013. And before that, when I was employed, I told my bosses the same thing. I don't care which guru is telling you to boost a post or do a sponsored ad. Visibility metrics are just like a tick box exercise. Okay? If you actually want to get results in your business, the most honest way to do this, if you're running your business ethically, is to do it organically. So you can really see what's going on before you plow any money into any kind of advertising. And actually, if you're going to do any kind of paid ads online, I would recommend that rather than doing a boosted post, unless you know what you're doing and you're already existing online, if you're new to business, you're better off running a Facebook ad campaign rather than a boosted campaign. And if you want to know why, I can share that with you another time. But we do Facebook ads for clients, and when we explain this to clients, they typically understand what we mean because we break it down and we show them evidence, or we break it down and we tell them what we'd expect to get for them or the outcomes that would be likely from them working in a particular way. So if you work in a way where you're thinking methodically and you're not obsessed with vanity metrics, then you'll probably get better results than the individual or the company that is obsessed with vanity metrics. And when you're online, it can be quite tempting to, you know, boost posts or to go onto someone's online event and attend that for visibility, or even speak on a podcast for visibility. You know, everybody's about the hype, okay? But actually, if you've gone on that podcast and nobody's messaged you, you've gone on that podcast, your website views haven't increased, your social media engagement hasn't increased, no one's, you know, got in touch with you and referenced the podcast, then why did you go on the podcast? If you've got, you know, lots of different things going on online, and I did mention earlier, online is not just social media. If you've got lots of different things going on online, and quite frankly, you don't really see any results from what you're doing, you need to pause. Yeah? I can honestly say, as someone who has multiple streams of, you know, revenue, I have my planner, I speak, I get paid to speak, I do my own events. There's a number of things that I do, some things that aren't even shared online with anyone, someone's business really. But I would be honest and say to you that I feel like I do a lot online. In fact, if I'm ever ill or, you know, I'm away on holiday, nobody knows because I make sure that I've, you know, scheduled, and I make sure that I've got things going out. Yeah. So if you are doing things online, if you've got multiple streams of income or you're doing more than one thing, try to focus on, especially if you're not used to marketing, try to focus on one thing. Okay, I always give this to my clients as advice. There is no need for you to be on every single social media platform. Again, I don't care what guru told you that you need to be, there is no need. Unless you want to overwhelm yourself and run your business like you're running a social media management agency, there is no need for you to be on every platform. If you are feeling exhausted from using social media, my advice to you would be absolutely streamline what you're doing. Yeah? If you're watching on Instagram and YouTube, you can let me know how many platforms you're on. I know quite a lot of you are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're on all of the platforms. But if I asked you what your analytics were like for all of those platforms, I'm quite certain that less than half of you would be able to say to me what your stats are like. Unless, of course, you've coached with me and I've run you through the whole analytics session so that you understand how to read your data. Yeah? And some of you will know how to read analytics, and that's great. But what I'm saying is the majority of people, they're out here pumping out content like machines, and there's nothing to show for it. Right? How many questions have been submitted from the blog post that you did or the talk that you did? If you are doing events, whether they're online or offline, if you sent out an online survey, what responses did you get back? How many completed forms did you get back? What did the responses tell you? Also, if you're generating leads from that complimentary ebook or that AI quiz that you've done, how often are you looking through those? Have you got a process in place for the leads that you're generating, or do they just come into your mailbox and then they just wait until you've decided to email them? Or do you have an actual schedule, a plan? And then also, just in terms of the types of events you're attending online, I said this recently at a talk that I did last week. It's all well and good doing lots of different events, whether they're online or offline, but the right people have got to be in the room. The right people have got to be in the room. And not just that, you've actually got to make sure that what you're doing is making sense to you. Because if you're spending 2+ hours a week on events and you're not getting anyone inquire, or you're not following up and you're not getting any kind of substance from that meeting, then what are we doing? What are we actually doing? That's what you need to be questioning. If you have time, go to day 1 of this 5-day series. It's over on YouTube. You can see it on there. It's time and budget management. I think if it's one video you're going to watch this week, I would definitely recommend that you look at the time and budget management. Okay, so someone says, I'm on more than one social media platforms and I do check analytics. Well, I know that. Sticking out my tongue. I know that. Well done. So when you're looking at, you're online, think about the different activities that you need to look at. On day 1, we looked at time and budget management. And on that day, I suggested that you reviewed all the different types of marketing that you're doing, online and offline. And remember, at the start of this session, I said that online is really anything that requires web page, website, arguably a mobile phone, smart device. That's online. Anything with those kind of things is online. Even TV, digital TV. Yeah. So if you're sending out news releases online, if you're sending out email newsletters, if you're doing video marketing, if you're sending out invitations to events online, all of that is online. And yesterday on day 3, I spoke about offline. Yeah. So there's a whole series this week created for the business owner who, maybe like you, if you're listening, you doing a lot and you actually want to get better results. The 4-week sprint, let me tell you quickly about that as I wrap up. And if you've got any questions, you can pop them in the chat. The 4-week Marketing Momentum Club is for the business owner who just wants clarity and a plan. And then we work in a group, but I work with you one-to-one so that you've got a plan that we focus on, and that within that plan, you also have access to 4 specific trainings that I know most of you need. Yeah, this is based on intelligence. This is based on me working with clients so far this year and even last year and previous years. I know what most business owners need, because I know that a lot of you say you're going to do these things, and these are the things that we're going to get it done. The 4-week Marketing Momentum Club is going to be 4 weeks of doing marketing, right, in a way that you will be able to keep working at your own pace. It's not about racing or competing with anyone. You're going to have goals that you agree with me at the start, and then we are going to make sure that you deliver on most, if not all, of those goals. And I'm going to hold you accountable as a marketing coach, not as a friend or a business buddy, as a marketing coach that understands branding and marketing, who advises CEOs, yeah, and leaders of organizations, who has over 1,000 reviews from paying clients and customers and companies that have trusted me to do that for them. If you're stuck, get in touch with me, and I know that I'll be able to help you. I'm quite confident. If you're on Instagram now, I am on YouTube. Okay, someone says yes, please. All right, we'll jump in my inbox, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like this video. It really helps to share with the algorithm that you have enjoyed the content. Do press like. And if you want to speak to me, you can. I will make sure that I put a message out via my Instagram stories. But if you email me, because it's limited spaces, that will be for you to actually qualify to get onto the program. We do start in August, but I'm registering people from now, because from day 1, we are getting to work. Yeah, we are getting to work. I'm going to be working alongside you. Most of you who have big, audacious goals will find this extremely beneficial. And it's not a thing where I'm saying, oh, it's summer holidays, so you might be traveling. You can do it around traveling, because when you get into the program, you'll know exactly where I am and what I'm doing whilst I'm teaching you, right? This is your pace, your priorities. We're not all doing the same thing, but there will be 4 courses within the program that you will all have access to. Okay? So hopefully that made sense. I am going to speak to you soon, no doubt. And if you've got any questions or you want to speak to me privately, just drop me a line. But I really enjoyed today. And as I said, the other 3 days prior to today, which is day 4, they are available via the YouTube channel. Okay, so day 1, time and budget management. Day 2 was branding and messaging. Day 3 was offline. And of course, today is online. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks again for joining. Bye for now.